In recent years, young players have taken the CPT by storm. I'm talking about guys only 18 years old, even younger than that. And it's interesting because in the past, I would say that Street Fighter used to be looked at as like a OG type of game, a legacy game where the players that are even 40 plus years old are still at the top of it. But Rynge, are we seeing a change in the guard?
Oh man, it's one of those things where I think I harken back to that Punk versus Tokido set in Street Fighter V at EVO, right? Where you even hear Mena give interviews about it and how that was a very important set to Street Fighter history because Tokido winning prevented that guard change, right? Like it gave a lot of the OGs like the hope, so to speak, that they will be able to hang with this new generation that looked unstoppable leading up to that point. Obviously, Punk at the forefront. So I think we're experiencing something a little bit similar to that right now, right? Where we're seeing a whole lot of new faces come into the scene and get really high placings, really upper echelon rankings. And it's going to take, I think, like a big victory at EVO or Capcom Cup. And so far, that's kind of what has happened, right? We saw Angry Bird and then Punk win EVO. So both of them have been around for a while, right? Punk obviously had a very dominating run in 5. Angry Bird has been around since 4. And so has Punk, but obviously the domination started in 5. And then for Capcom Cup, we saw Kakadu win, right? And Kakadu, I feel like, is very much on like, he's like the middle child when it comes to the generations, right? Yeah, like he is like, he was taught by the previous generation, played a lot with them, and obviously was, I think, one of the leaders of the new generation, but has since had some years under his belt now where he showed out as Uzuru in Street Fighter V at EVO, right? He showed out a few times before this, and obviously at Gamers 8 to start Street Fighter 6. So I feel like he's kind of the middle child, while now we get to see, like the Crime Maze and the Blazes and the Not Pedros and a lot of the other players where we get to see come out and really show out Enzo the Hokage for the America side of things. It's going to be a clash, and the clashes are only going to get more frequent. Obviously, Ending Walker as well started at like 16, 15 in Street Fighter V. Now he's barely 18, going to maybe turn 19 this year. I mean, still so many new-blooded players are so elite that it's scary for the old guard, man, for sure.
You know, I want to go ahead and I just want to list some of these ages for you guys, right? Yeah. Crime, 14 years old, just turned 14 this year, mind you, only 14 years old. We just saw him beat Daigo, the GOAT, or at least my GOAT, right? Yeah. Ending Walker, only 19 years old. Jin, 22. Not Pedro, 18. Blaz, 15. Higuchi, 23. Lashar, 25.
Kills you's 23.
I can't say that the young guys are taking over because as you listed with these results, the OGs are still, and Lashar even very young, 25, but the OGs are still performing phenomenally. We just saw Blanchan in this top 8, like you brought up the EVO champions, the last EWC. Xiao Ha, of course, the definition of OG legend. And yet he won EWC for Street Fighter recently. What I will say is that these younger guys are just as good as the OGs right now. And that is terrifying, right? Like, I mean, it's amazing for me as a spectator, but imagine being on the other side. Like, if this dude is only 14, then you'll see how Crime plays. That's something else I want to bring up, man. I feel like the way that these dudes played in the past, when the young guys started coming up, they would be a lot more aggressive, a lot more willing to take a risk and balls to the wall. I think we do still see such things to some degree, but these little dudes are coming out playing Shotos, fireball game, whiff punish, anti-air. They are playing fundamental Street Fighter. I don't know what's in the water, what's in the air in South America, but I think it's footsies and nooch in talent, right? I think they put in some Mike's secret stuff in their drinks because there's no way this dude should be do you know how hard I worked to practice my neutral game range? Do you know how tough it was to practice on? And this dude, they children play. It make me mad.
Yeah, I feel it.
I don't understand what's going on right now, brother, but I do think potentially does come a point where, I mean, they're not going to get worse.
That's a great point, right? Definitely not going to get worse. And yeah, it feels like when we used to see a lot of the young players that had a lot of success, it was that gameplay style where it's like, oh, you are not burdened by reality or bills or life responsibilities yet, right? Like they're just playing so free. These dudes are coupling that with calculated footsies and calculated neutral. And when you have both sides of that coin, I mean, it's going to be so tough to get a read on these players. And they're so new that it's like you haven't even ran into them in tournament a lot. There isn't even a lot of footage out there to study of them. It is very hard to hone in on their habits and try to exploit that because they're so new and they're so good when they're so new. So yeah, I think it's definitely tough for the old guard right now, just running into these type of players as they get used to them. Like you said, these players are not going to get worse. They're only going to get better. The good thing for the other competitors is at least they'll get more intel on them, right? Like we'll be able to see them a little bit more. They'll get personal practice against them. They'll start being able to see for themselves where they maybe can exploit some stuff. While these new players, I mean, in the case of people like Blaz and Crime, 14, 15 years old, into the Hokage, 14, 15 years old, they grew up watching these guys, right? These are players that they've idolized since they were children, and they still are just barely teenagers. So a lot of the time, even if they were not maybe looking for something consciously about these players, they've watched them so much that subconsciously their play is a part of them, a part of who they are, right? A part of how they learn fighting games. So it's going to be a very interesting generational clash, and it's already been one that we've seen time and time again in fighting games. And that's one of my favorite parts about fighting games getting older, is seeing all these players clash across generations.
And I'll tell you what, man, I think that we're going to just continue seeing this trend happen. Players that we don't know yet are going to keep on popping up, becoming amazing. In other esports, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of kids are the ones who dominate. Yeah. Like the young guys dominate in a whole lot of these esports. I think that the FGC is just now, as we see from the numbers, getting bigger and bigger. And the more we see people winning $1 million, the more that we see these big, crazy, wild events going on, celebrities popping up in our stuff now and everything, the more we're going to see these kids playing from a younger age. And I think it's going to be very tough to stop them. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section, the chat and everything like that. Do not miss your chance to get into all of these Capcom Pro Tour events, because they have been absolutely fire, and they are for all ages, young and old. Everybody does flip to the events. You do not want to miss out. CapcomProTour.com. Make sure you get involved. And when we get back, me and Rynge are going to be checking out the CPT standings to see just how everything is shaping up. You do not want to miss it.